So this is one of my wormery bins. I took a lot of baby worms as I clean out my bins, and I put them in here, let them grow. As you see, there's some around. Little leftover pumpkin skin, which is great. They devoured that. As you can see, there's a lot of worms in here. Feels good as far as moisture, not overly wet. But a good feeling. There's constantly handfuls of worms. I'm just going to fluff it up, kind of move the soil around. This bin, when I started it, it was also taken from my compost bin, and took all the leftover stuff that didn't really break down, and I put it in here. It was extremely wet from the compost bin, so I mixed slowly but surely, newspaper a little at a time, just to help pick up some of the moisture. And then I took some of my secret ingredient and mixed it in. I mean, if you could see this, there's just worms on just about every inch of it, and every handful I pull up, I'm pulling up worms. So I call these the blue bins. Blue bins are what I'm also going to have my worms that I'm also going to start to sell. So when it goes through its cycle, which I usually just cycle mine for 3 months, and I don't add more bedding as I go. I just like to stir it up. That tends to take anything from the bottom, bring it to the top, and try to just mix it up as much as you can so that you get these clumps. And it also adds air to it. So this bedding is extremely, I'm going to say is going to be extremely fertile because of what I used. It was all the unspent stuff that wasn't ready for the from the compost. That was all clumpy. It was all clumpy and extremely, like I said, wet. So as I'm rubbing it through my hands, I could feel just little pieces of stick But still, everywhere I pull up, there's crazy amount of worms. Some debris that shouldn't be in there. Some old pumpkin. And also these two bins have another blue bin that I started. This is the oldest, and I didn't put any time on this one. I just kind of got it to where I wanted it to be as far as moisture and worms acting happy to be in here. And so probably a couple of months that was just no fuss, not really feeding them anything but some homemade homemade worm chow, or I guess we can't use worm chow, you gotta say worm food that you made up. So homemade worm food. So I just fed them that at first. Nothing solid. No scraps. No nothing. Just worm chow. Worm food. Just some worm food that I made myself. And kind of go from there. And so I think I did this bin where I was happy with how the product was looking, and I decided to pull out some of these sticks. I decided to call this a bin. This bin and the second blue bin that I have next to it, those two get heat. I have heating mats. I have two of them, 20 by 48, and these two bins have heat under it. I think that's why it also helped them break down really good, because kept them happy and moving with the additional heat. So it works out good. But these worms will be the worms that I will be selling on eBay. So you will see them out there with the rest of the people that have worms, and they're nice size worms. They're really nice size worms. You know, there's still some babies in here. There's a lot of babies in here. A lot of cocoons that were in there from the compost. They also hatched and did well. You know, like I saw when we started, we did different things. I used to use newspaper on top of my worms. That worked out great. And the good thing about the newspaper, it does hold the moisture, but if your bin is too wet, it will also suck up the moisture also. So it does two good things that I think, you know. So I know when I first started, I had some bins that were too wet. I put that newspaper down. Newspaper would be saturated, wet. I'd pick it up, take it out, put more paper in over it just to kind of suck up the moisture. And now I use filter fabric. I got a big roll of it, 500 feet by 4 feet. Where I work at, a customer must have put it down, forgot about it, left it out in the yard, sat there for about 2 weeks. No one claimed it, so I claimed it. And that's what I do. I cut it, put it in there. The nice part about it, it lets the moisture out, lets air in. The newspaper I don't have to worry about. So there's a little condensation on the side of the bin, but that's basically because of the heat coming up through it. I only run heat on it for 2 hours a day, and then that's it. So that's my wormery. I do have a problem with my second one that we'll talk about when I show it. But this one, that's my wormery. And I want to say I started this bin as a productive bin on 11/10. So I still got some months to go on it before I'll change it out. And also I put holes in my bins using screen. I put it on the back, hot glue it on the back. I have 2 on each side. Lets in plenty of air, and that works for me. All right, I appreciate it taking a look at my worm bin, my wormery, and this is New Era Gardener. Thanks.